Happy Monday! Thank you for joining me here tonight. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for the beginning crafter, and I am here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central, that's 9:30 Eastern and 6:30 Pacific, and it's a time that we can relax and craft together. So thank you guys for joining me here tonight. Tonight we are starting the Stitch'n Hedgie embroidery of the month stitch along. So we're going to be stitching onto the drawstring bag that comes in the bundle. But I also just emailed everyone, so if you check your email, you should have received an email from me. I put a bonus little banner embroidery pattern, and even if you didn't buy the bundle or the pattern, it is in there. So in the PDF version of this pattern, it doesn't have the Craft a Happy Life banner that is at the bottom. But I did, so I decided to just give it to everyone, you guys, as a free pattern. Like literally I sent it out maybe 10 minutes ago, so check your email. But I will show you how to transfer that tonight. And I have a couple other little patterns, little banners in there as well. So thank you guys for joining me. I am excited to start stitching tonight. It is nice to see you all popping in, and it's been a little while. Again, I wasn't here on Friday. We were visiting family. Okay, so Barbara says she got her banner. Awesome. So again, you guys, I just sent you an email. Check your email for this bonus banners pattern. So it has that Craft a Happy Life banner from the bag that we'll be doing, plus a few other banners. So all right, you guys, I'm gonna flip you around. Let's get started tonight. Let's get stitching. Okay, I got my light table out here. Okay, so first of all, let's open our bundles. So I know a lot of y'all have started this already. I do actually still have bundles, so that's great. I made a lot more of these this month than I usually do, because I wanted to make sure that everyone who wanted one of these bags would be able to get one. So, all right, we have, it should have come with an embroidery hoop, and it also has a needle, your floss that you need. Let's just empty that out right away. And we also have the bundle, or the bag, I mean, so, and then the pattern. So here's what I'm talking about, that Craft a Happy Life banner. It is on it's on the bag that we have right here, but it's not on the PDF. So you can add it on if you like, and I'll show you how to trace it on. So, all right, here we go. This is our reference for what stitches go where. So I'm going to have this available next to me. And here is the bag. So this is what comes in the bundle. And it's one of these cute drawstring bags that works like a backpack as well. So it has the two bits there, and all you do is you pull on both tops, and it'll cinch right up. So I'm hoping we can finish stitching this up this week, and I think it'd be fun, just as a little bonus, maybe we can figure out how to get a liner in here as well, because this is just the muslin bag, so our stitches will be exposed in the end. So it might be fun to put a little fabric liner in here as well. So, all right, you guys. Okay, good. You're checking your emails. Barbara got her bundle today too. Awesome. Yay. Okay. Oh, yes, Colleen. So I am both on Facebook and YouTube. So if you can't find me at one place, check the other for sure. All right. So let's get started with this. So you can see it doesn't quite fit the hoop. So we'll move around a little bit. The PDF actually might be a little smaller too, so it can fit the hoop a little bit better. But you can feel free to enlarge or shrink things as much as you want. Before we get started on this though, I just wanted to show you how you can transfer your PDF to a different piece of fabric if you want, just by tracing it. And I'm going to show you with the little banners and some fun things that you can do with this. So we're going to set this aside just for a quick moment before we get started. And I'm going to grab my light table. So you can get light tables on Amazon for like for like about $20 now. Mine's super duper old. Man, when I was in art school, though, light tables were this thick and they cost like $100. So they're so easy and simple now, and they're LEDs. I'm still using a pretty old one here. But yeah, if you don't have a light table, feel free to just tape this up to a bright window. But this is what I'm going to do first. So I'm going to tape this just with some painter's tape to my light table here. I think we'll put one at the bottom too, just to make it extra sturdy. I'm just reading through your comments a little bit too. All right. So I have that Craft a Happy Life in there, and again, feel free to make it as big or small as you like. If you want it actual size, I do have the little guides down here, so when you print it out on your printer, make sure that this measures 1 inch, or if you use metric, this is 3 centimeters. So that will let you know if you've printed it at the right size. But again, you can feel free to print it as large and small as you want. So that's what I have right here. All right, so that one I have filled in with some text already, the Craft a Happy Life text, but I left these couple other ones that I drew just kind of open. But, you know, banners can be used for tons of things. I think one thing that it can be really fun for is for like birth announcements and little baby blankets and that sort of thing. So like, especially with some of these, you can go, all right, what I would suggest is get another piece of paper before you move to fabric. Okay, I got the light table on so I can see all the banners through this, but just grab a pencil and, you know, maybe you're making this for a baby. Just draw your text. You can draw text just like you're writing, or feel free to print out some text and trace. But, you know, like, let's say I'm just going to write it out in capital letters. Let's say Marie. And let's say she was born, she's going to be born, well, let's just say June 15th. That's today. So you can write June 15, and I'm going to go off the side here a little bit, but we'll be able to correct that in a bit. 2020. Okay, so if I scooch that over like this a little bit, then I can fit it in a little bit better. Not quite, but I can shift a little bit. So once I kind of have this where I like it, you can actually trim this. Like if you like your text, feel free to cut out your text and tape it to where you like it on your piece. So you don't have to draw perfectly in the line. You can always adjust that later. I don't have a paper or scissors near me, so I'm using my poor embroidery scissors. But there, so now I have Marie centered, and then I can do the June 15th, and maybe I want the 2020 is kind of angled, goofy. I might have to actually make that smaller. Maybe we can squeeze it in there. You can always rewrite it. Like now maybe I'll like just rewrite it right on here. 2020. But there, then I would just give your whole thing a tape down. So I think if I go tape right here, I think I can get all my pieces, but let's just tape one more. And then I would actually grab another piece of paper and finish your design. So this is fun. Like doing this all on paper first allows you to kind of get everything perfect, get everything how you want. And maybe you want to do a cursive letter, so try drawing that out. If you want it, you know, different handwriting, you can test a few different handwritings, but then just go ahead and trace your design. You can trace the whole thing. You could trace right on fabric right away, but sometimes it's nice just to get it all down. I promise we will start stitching soon. But yeah, I love doing text, and I love, you know, just being able to arrange it. I like that you can do it a bunch of different times and adjust things, put them exactly where you want. You can rewrite things. But yeah, so I think these banners, you can just, oh, you know what else this would be good for? Like quilt labels. You could finish up your quilt with a little stitched quilt label in a cute little banner. That would be fun. There we go. So that's my new banner that I want to stitch onto something. And so now I can just remove all of this. That's because this is my new pattern. Oop, I'm using some of this tape. All right, so now you can get your pattern down again. Tape it down. And then you can like transfer it to any fabric you want. So I have just this white fabric with this fun little dot. You can just turn your light table back on. I would tape it down. And this is kind of a thick fabric, so it's a little difficult to see. But you can take a water-soluble ink pen or just your pencil, and you can just go ahead and trace this again right onto your fabric. And I'm not going to do all of it now, but this is just the process that you can use to get your designs onto a lighter colored fabric like this. So I'm not going to get too much further into this, but that's a way you can use your banners. So I wanted to, and here we go. Here's the little banner started to be traced, but that'd be cute on that little polka dot for sure. So yeah, feel free to use these banners however you like. I'd love to see what you do with them. If you put them on your hedgehog, let me see, and if you use them for something else, I would love to see as well. So awesome, you guys. All right, so I'm going to get started on this, the main reason we are here tonight. So again, I am going to keep this near me just so I can see the colors we're using, and feel free to use whatever colors you like for sure, and then what stitches we're going to use as well. So to get started, I am going to give this a little press because it has some wrinkles just from being in the bundle. So let's do that first. Oh yeah, Gretchen, I think a quilt label would be just so sweet with a little banner on it. All right, so I'm just going to hit this real quick. This actually isn't all that wrinkly. So there we are. Let's just go like so. I might even give this a little wash when we're done and we'll be fine. Okay. All right, if I don't answer a question, you guys, please ask it again. Sometimes these comments go by really quickly. Oh yay, Lynn's pattern is coming in tomorrow, her bundle. Yay! Okay, so you might have guessed right away there is a few things different than when we normally work on an embroidery. And really, the big difference is that we have a back to this. Like, we are trying to stitch right through here, and that might get a little bit difficult. So I have I have a little idea what might help us with that, and that is going to be using the sewing method instead of the stabbing method of embroidery. So I'm going to show you what that means, but let's start by getting a part of this into the hoop. It won't fit the entire thing, but I think we'll start on the inside. We'll start with our little hedgie. So I'm putting the inner hoop inside the bag right now, and I mean I can feel it there, so I'm going to kind of get that hedgie in there. And I'm going to actually keep this a little looser. So normally I would stretch the fabric out a little bit, but I'm going to just kind of push down on here. I'm going to work with this a little less taut, and that's going to help with the sewing method. I might actually not use the hoop in the end, but we're going to start with the hoop and see how it goes. All right, so now I'm tightening it up, but okay, you can see it's only in the front side, and I do have it a little looser. I might actually make it even more loose by just sticking my hand over the top. So there we go. It's pretty loose here. It's not that tight kind of drum that we're normally doing. Oh, Nora's saying she usually rolls the top of the bag down and starts at the bottom. Oh, that's a clever idea. Okay. Kathy, no, the black lines will not wash out of this. So this has been kind of like screen printed on here. So this is more permanent. Okay, so Colleen is asking that as well. So this is permanent on here. That's why I included the PDF version as well. If you want to do something less permanent, like if you want to use a water-soluble marker and just trace it, or if you wanted to use that stick and stitch material that washes out, you can do that. If you want to work, I mean, obviously not in this bag that's been pre-printed, but you can. You do still have that option if you wanted to trace it onto something else. But this is permanent. And this is actually, I think this is the first thing that we've done with a permanent printing. And I'd love to hear, after we work with it, if you guys prefer, the whole transfer process and putting it on your own, or if you do like this more permanent printing. I'd love to hear what you guys think about that. So, all right, let's start with him. So I like kind of working with the parts that are the furthest back and then stitch the things furthest front last. So in this case, I think like all his little spines or spikes would be farther back, and then like this line we would stitch kind of on top of those spikes, because like I don't want to have to stitch a line and then have to stitch all these spikes and try and hide the ends underneath the line I already have stitched. That sounds a little hard. So I think I'm going to start with all of his little spines. And that is with the light tan color. So I'm going to, these come all kind of rolled up. Okay, Kathy says she likes both ways, the pre-printed and doing it yourself. Okay. All right, I'm going to just snip about 24 inches or so. I might have a little bit more, but about 24 inches. I'm going to use these later, the same size, so that's why I cut all three at once. It's just a little easier. I'm going to grab that lighter tan out of here. And I'm going to stitch with three strands. I just like that thickness. I think there's probably enough thread for you to stitch with all six. However, when you stitch with all 6 strands of 6-strand embroidery floss, it can be a little difficult to pull through the fabric. So another reason I like 3. So I'm going to just separate the threads, and I'm going to do that by just kind of holding the end, kind of bopping it a little to like release one little thread there, and I'm going to grab that thread, and I'm only going to pull that thread and let the rest kind of bunch up behind my fingers until the thread comes out. There we go. And this should all just loosen, kind of like magic. It should not form a ton of knots. It should just be all ready to go. It's just 5 strands now instead of 6. So let's do that 2 more times. All right, here's a single strand. It really only works if you pull single strands. It doesn't work if you try and do more than one, so believe me, I tried. Then it gets into a little tangled mess, but just one strand at a time. It'll look tangled, but it's really not. It's really loose and nice. So, all right, I have this leftover 3 strands, and I have these 3 loose strands. We're going to just line up those ends. And we will get started with there. So it comes with an embroidery needle. I'm going to grab that and use that. Yep, I got the pink nails tonight. I've been actively, you guys, I've been actively trying to use up my nail polish. So I used up all that natural colored nail polish, and I'm almost out of this bright pink. So I don't know, this might be the last week of this pink. Then I'll be just cruising through all my other old nail polishes. I want to do that before I buy some more. All right. Oh, yes, so I don't know. Rebecca's asking, what are hedgehogs like? I don't think we have them in Texas. I think they're kind of like I think they're in like Great Britain. I don't know. Do you guys know, where are hedgehogs? I don't think they're a U.S. natural animal. They are sold in pet shops in some states, I think. All right, I'm going to just tie a knot in the end here. And we're going to start with our away knot. Now, this is a way that we can just weave in the ends later, so we will come back to this. But I am going to, okay, here's where it's going to get tricky. So I'm going to put my hand inside the bag, and I'm going to actually start here with these spines, but I'm going to put my needle in all the way over here. So I'm going to have like a leap about this far from where I start stitching. That's fine. I'm going to actually use that excess floss later to weave in the end. But for now, we're going to just do that and forget about it. And I'm going to come up at that first stitch here. There we go. Okay, now this is the sewing method. Okay, Bonnie says in England. England is where they are. I think they're indigenous. Nora's saying they're indigenous to the UK and Europe. Charlotte says they live in England. Isn't that funny? Just like all these cute little wild animals everywhere. All right, you guys, the sewing method of embroidery is where you go in and out in the same motion, and versus the stabbing method. So here's first the stabbing method, and you'll recognize this. This is the typical way I do it. So the stabbing method, you come up where you want to start, you go down at the end of your stitch. So I'm going to do all these in one big stitch. And then you grab the needle from behind, you pull all the way through, and then you come back up at the next stitch, let's say right there. And then you pull all the way back. So it's several movements. You're pulling all the way through and you're coming all the way back up. But in this case, with this particular piece, because it is this bag with 2 sides, that is tricky, because if I go down here and I pull it all the way through, I have all this room for error. I can accidentally stab the back. I could accidentally go through one of the loops here. Pulling it through the back like this is going to be troublesome. And coming up back like this, because I might catch a loop, might catch anything. So that's the stabbing method. It works great in other scenarios. I think it's really precise because you can get that exact point. But in this case, I don't think it's going to work all that well because there is just too much room to get caught, right? So instead, we're going to use the sewing method. And the sewing method is where you go in and out in the same motion. So like this. So I'm going to go, so instead of pulling the thread all the way through, I'm going to stab it here, and then I'm going to come up at the next stitch. So that's all one motion. And there we go. And let's do that again. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to come up at the next stitch. You can choose either side, really. So see, in this method, I never am actually pulling through to the back. And if we look at the back, when I pull, it's just kind of sliding. Here it is. It's sliding across just that spot there. It's never a big loop on the back. So I think this sewing method may be the way to go. So this in and out method. And this is also the reason why I have my fabric a little more loose in the hoop here, is because the sewing method is difficult if you are using a really tight fabric, tight in the hoop fabric. So a little looser, or even without a hoop, will work for this sewing method. I do like the in the hoop just because it makes a nice kind of work surface, and it still helps me not pull things too tight so it gets bunched up, but just a little bit of looseness for the sewing way. I think that's going to be good. Okay, Gretchen says, I have a question. What is the difference between sashiko stitching and back stitching? So I think, well, sashiko, I think, is more of a style of stitching, but in basic technical terms, I think sashiko is more of a running stitch than a back stitch, like where you go in and out, and you got more of a dashed line. Oh gosh, yes, you guys. So the Aurifil block of the month was released today. I have not even seen it. I got the email, but I was in the car still, and then I forgot about it. So you'll have to describe to me what the new Aurifil block of the month is. I'm excited for it. All right. Oh, Barbara says, this year we have a bunch of chipmunks here. Today I told my son it's like having a bunch of hamsters loose in the yard. Okay, I like that. That's fun. All right, so here we go. We have, I got a little loose stitch here. Let's just kind of see if I can tighten it up a little bit. I had a little thread that was a little loose. But there we go. So here's the start of our little stitches. I think this is working great using the sewing method. So, all right. I'm going to start up here. I think I'm going to start at this stitch right here instead of here, because here I would jump across and you might see that line. But if I jump up to here, it's kind of the same path as this line here. So I think you'll be less likely to see it in the back. So I'm going to just go down and up to the next little spine there. And I'm just keeping on rotating, so it's the easiest to hold the hoop, so that's why I'm upside down a little bit. But we'll just keep this sewing method in and out in the same motion. And we will get as many of these as we can until we run out of thread. And then I think it's easier motion to go all the way up here. Then we'll weave in our ends and start up the next bit. But I think, I think we might be able to finish all of his little cute spines tonight. So I'm just kind of, you can pick whichever one to go to. I'm just kind of randomly, I'm kind of just doing like a wash from this side to that side of getting these spines. But you could do all these first ones down here, then you could come back and do these, and then keep going around. However you think to get all these. Sometimes it's easier to make like these big stitches with the sewing method. Let's come back up here. I do have to get that one that's hiding down there yet though. This guy. Whatever you can do. So you can, the black lines are permanent, but you will be covering them up with these stitches. And the fun thing is if you don't finish or if you wanted to give this to someone, and like if you wanted to give this to a kid to work on and they don't finish, or they're just not, they just want to do a little bit of stitching or something, or they're just not going on the lines exactly, right? Then there's actually still the lines, so it still will look like a finished piece, which is nice. And they could actually color it in like a coloring book too. They could do that with crayons. If you put some parchment paper on top of it when you're done, like a piece of wax paper or a piece of paper towel, and then parchment paper, and then give it a little press, those crayons will come a little bit more permanent. I think they'll come out in the wash over time, or just fade a little bit. But that would be a fun way to do it too. Like have a kid color what they want and put on some stitches. It is fun to have kids get thread and a needle and just do some stitches. But sometimes their coordination isn't, perfect enough to get on all the lines, but it's still so rewarding for kids to actually have that needle go through the thread and stitch some lines. It's just the idea of that they put those lines there and they can see, like, they just have the knowledge that they did that piece of art. Like they did that, they stitched that, and that can be just so rewarding. And the younger kids can feel that like reward of crafting, the reward of like putting something out there, of making something. I think the better. I mean it. So it'd be a good coloring project / little stitching project. A little more difficult with the bag. So maybe the just on some fabric would be a little easier than the bag. But they could color it in and do a couple stitches and someone else could finish it up too. All right, I'm almost out of thread here. I think we'll do these 2 little stitchies here. Okay, so now I am going to go to the back, but here's where we're at so far. He's got a start of some hair. All right, I'm going to go to the back. So this is the only time we're really spending on the back now with that sewing method. I'm going to just kind of open up the shape here a little bit, and I'm going to weave in this end. So I'm going to just try and go in and out of as many stitches that I can for about, 3/4 of an inch or so. And then I'm going to go back, but in a different spot. So I'm not going the same exact path, but I'm trying to get back to where I was. And then the third one, that kind of locks it in place. So I'm doing this instead of tying a knot. I think this can be a little bit more secure than a knot, and it helps us have a nice flat back without any knots on the back here. I think this is getting away from me a little bit. Got a little bloop in there, but all right, there we are. Then I can snip this close to where I wove it in, and that should be pretty secure. So now that knot that we had down here where we started out, I am going to snip it off, and then we are going to, so that loosened it, and now I'm going to weave in this end as well. So same thing. So this is where we started. So this is how I don't have a knot at the beginning, because I'm going to weave in the beginning now. I made a little like temporary knot. So now I'm going to grab some of the backs of these stitches. One, and we're going to do our back and forth 3 times. Oh, Kathy says, I'll be teaching a couple of my granddaughters to sew and embroider for part of their homeschool this year. Ugh, that sounds awesome. Ugh, what a good, fun class. How fun. Actually, oh my gosh, you guys, tomorrow I have hanging up, it's framed. I'm a firstborn, so this stuff got framed. But one of my first embroideries and I did it in school. I actually know how old I was because I wrote it right on there, but I was 6. And I should show you guys this embroidery tomorrow. I'll take it off the wall. I have it here now. When my parents moved, I acquired a lot of my old little kid stuff again. But I like having it up. It's a first embroidery, so I like having it there. Okay, so I just, this is that other 3 strands. Remember, we split the 6th strand of embroidery floss into 2, and this is that other end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just weave it into the backs again, and then we're back in business. So this is the only time I'm hanging out on the back here is when I'm weaving in these ends to get started, and I'm just kind of going in the same spot. I'm going to pull that thread almost all the way to the end, grab as many things as I can back here. Okay, and back. And I'm actually going to trim that little bit of an end here. That third pass kind of locks it in, so I don't need that little edge. So there's nothing that's going to pull through to the front, which is nice too. All right, let's flip around. I'm going to come up at the next little spine here. Let's make sure I'm not, catching a loop of the backpack or anything. And then I'm going to continue with this sewing method, just that in and out method of embroidery, not the stabbing method, the sewing method. Oh, Bev is asking, did your mom and dad move away from Chad Kitty? No, so that was a whole event. So Chad the kitty, which I did see a whole lot of him this weekend, and it was so nice. But Chad the kitty is an outdoor kitty, so like a farm kitty, really. So he wanders in the woods and just wherever, but he does know where to come home to. He knows where the food is. He knows where a bed is. He knows where kind of the litter box is and all that. So it is our cat. But it's an outdoor cat. So when my parents moved, it was a big deal. Like, oh my gosh, how are we going to, Chad's going to be in a whole new environment. How is he going to handle that? He's still going to be an outdoor kitty, but we're moving him from his current outdoor to the other outdoor. And it was hairy for a little while. Well, he actually moved to the garage for a while and got comfortable with the new garage and got comfortable with his food there, got comfortable with his, blankie there and all that. And then once he was there for, a couple weeks or a week, I don't know, then we were going to introduce him to the outside and maybe be around when he was outside. But then we left the door open on accident and he was gone. And we're like, oh no, Chad's gone. We lost a kitty. But then he turned up. I don't think that night he turned up, but then the next evening he turned up and was back in the garage and just was chilling in the garage again. So ever since then, he's just hung around still. And for the longest time, like for months, we wouldn't actually see him during the day, which was unusual because at the old place, we would always see him during the day. If we were outside, he would come by. But this time we would never see him during the day, and he would only come around at night. Like every night he would show up on my parents' doorstep, and then he would want to be let in. And he wouldn't be let in at the old house, but this house he gets let in the evenings because he's so cute. But anyway, so that was for months and months. We would see him every single evening. He'd come to the door and want to hang out. But within the past couple weeks, he comes during the day and he's around all the time again. So this time when we were there, and it's been the first time since we were there because we haven't been anywhere forever, but he was there throughout the day and he would follow us around and he was just all sweet. So my theory is that he took those first few months and he mapped out the whole area. And once he was all mapped out, then he just came back to do his normal thing and chill and hang out around the house and still, walk around and out in the woods and whatever. But when he'd hear us outside and stuff, he would come on by. So he wasn't far away. So he's good to go at the new place, basically, let's just say. But yeah, we weren't sure how that was going to go, but he's a happy kitty for sure. Such a sweet kitty. But anyway, that's a longer story than you guys probably wanted. But I'm happy that we got to visit Chad Kitty again. And my mom and dad, of course. Oh, you found your kitty asleep on top of the lawnmower. Oh, man. And no one knows how he could get up there. Oh, gosh. Once our old kitty, Sammy, before Chad, he got up on the garage door and couldn't figure out how to get down. So my brother got a ladder and got him down and handed him to me. And, he was just so scared. He reached out like he was like a little baby who just wanted to be held. Like, he reached out like, oh, you saved me. Thank you. Poor little kitty. That was Chad. Or not, that was not Chad. That was Sammy. He was a good kitty, too. We had only nice kitties. Jennifer, nope, they are no closer. Well, actually, Jennifer's asking, are my parents closer to me now that they moved? They are about 17 minutes closer, which on a 5-hour drive is not that much. But no, they actually didn't move that far away from where they were. Technically, they are 17 minutes closer. Alright, I think I have... okay, I have just enough thread that I think I am going to come jump down, get these spines down here. Get a couple more here. Let's see, what's the best hand position now? I think right like this. Get a few more of these buggers. And we definitely need to cut some more floss. But this is going fast. So this sewing method is actually can be quite a bit faster than the stabbing method as well. You might wonder, why do I still use the stabbing method primarily? And it's first of all because I'm used to doing it. It's just comforting. I know how to, I like it. But I also feel like with the stabbing method where you stab and then bring your needle all the way to the back, I feel like you can get really, really precise on where exactly you are going down, and then where you're coming back up. With the sewing method, I kind of am like getting as close as I can, really. But with the stabbing method, I can really get it precise. But I think, I might just need a little bit more practice with this sewing method. But it's going quite fast, I think. Ugh, can I get these 2 last stitches? I'm trying to get these last 2. Oh, I might have been Cutting it a little too close here, but let's see. So this is the last stitch. You know, I don't have much to weave it in here either, but we're gonna try. I'm gonna actually grab down here and get these 3 stitches. Kathy's saying the stabbing is more accurate for me. Yes. It's fun to say. Stabbing. More accurate stabber. But I agree. I think if you're going for like a lot of accuracy, I do think the stabbing method is a bit nicer. Bit more accurate. I agree. But there are times for the sewing method, and this is definitely one of them. I think this is making this project a whole lot easier than it could have been just by doing that sewing method. And again, if you guys are coming in late, the sewing method is where you go in and out of the fabric in the same motion before pulling the needle through. And you do want your fabric a little looser in the hoop. It makes it easier for that sewing method. All right, let's grab some more floss. I'm out again. Again, I'm cutting all 3 at once just because it's easy. Let's pull out that tan. So then I'll have these pre-cut for later, basically. Okay, and I always use about 24 inches or so. And that's for a couple of reasons. One is that I don't have to pull my arm way back to pull my stitches through. That can be tough for like repetitive stress when you're doing a whole lot of stitching, which, an hour, which is what we're doing here, that's quite a bit still. I really start feeling it after an hour's worth. The second reason is that the more times you're pulling your thread, your floss, through the fabric, it is getting rubbed every single time it gets pulled through the fabric, and that friction can actually deteriorate. I guess that's not quite the right word, but it can just weaken just because it can just basically erode, again, not quite the right word, the threads. So the threads can become weaker and they might break, or they might fray a little bit more, or they might be more prone to knotting up. So that is all that can happen if you use a really long piece of thread, because then it'll be going through the fabric quite a bit more. So this 24 inches, I feel, is like the good balance for me, at least, of having it long enough that I feel like I'm not just doing these tiny short pieces, but short enough that I can still, keep the thread nice and not hurt my arm. Okay. Oh, thanks, Gretchen saying is look how wonderful he is now with just this little bit stitched. Yeah, all of it, just every little bit gets us a little further. And it's kind of how I say with quilting, like every little thing, and it looks more and more finished, like exponentially more almost. All right, I can move this hoop. Moving this hoop might be a little bit easier to move it down, but I'm going to just try and just stitch at a weird angle here. Nah, we're going to go like this. There we go. So the back, I have the bag kind of pushed down as much as I can. I like having my left hand kind of where I'm stitching, so I'm always trying to turn the hoop and hold it. And you can see my fingers through there. Hold it so my left hand can help out a little bit. And with the sewing method, that's actually helpful. You can see my finger, I'm kind of helping push up the needle at the point that it needs to go a little bit. All right. It's looking fun. Oh, Kathy, I think if you left these spines, all these spines black, I think that would look totally fine. Yeah, you can. That's actually one of the nice things about having this pre-printed with kind of just this black outline. Uh, it's gonna look fine if you just stitch a little thing here and there. I mean, you could even just stitch the flowers or just stitch the banner, just stitch the heart, and leave the rest as is, and it'll still look finished. It'll look like that's what you meant to do, really. So I definitely wouldn't worry about if you wanted to leave the spines black. All right, we're going to end perfectly on this. I think I'm going to just get these spines done. And that will be that for the night. So that's not too shabby. I think doing these spines, it feels like we get a lot done all at once. So they're easy to do. The sewing method is especially easy for just these big stitches like this. And then tomorrow, I think we will do his outline. I'd like to think we could get that done tomorrow. I'd like to think we could get more than that done tomorrow. So maybe we can finish, if we could finish his whole body and face tomorrow, gosh, I'd love to get more done too. So we'll see. We'll try and cruise through this tomorrow. I know we spent a little bit of time on that banner and transferring designs and stuff. So tomorrow will be a lot more embroidery, and we're going to see how far we can get on this, because I'm excited to do all these outer flowers and all that yet. All right, let's jump over. So in this case, I am going to jump over, I think. We're going to just jump behind here. I think that's fine. Get these last little spikes. Fun. All right, so I didn't need that other piece of thread. I wonder if this tan, this tan is used in one other spot. I'm just looking again at the pattern from the bundle. The tan is used on this little butterfly up here, but I think I'll wait on that. Sometimes I like stitching all the same color all at once, but I'm going to just kind of do this by zone. So I'll stitch in this little zone here, and then once I get up in this area, I'll just, get that tan out again. I think that's fine if we don't finish the color. Oh, Patricia, give it a go. See if you like it again. It's addicting for sure. It's just one of those, I feel like, okay, first of all, Patricia's saying, I haven't had hand embroidered for a long time. You're making me miss it. I just think it's one of these crafts. It's kind of, I feel like it's like coloring. Like those adult coloring books that have been coming out over the past years and stuff. It's just relaxing. All we're doing is following the lines and just that texture added to something. Like, even if I just left it like this, just this extra texture is just looking so fun, I think. So I have one more stitch here, or two more. I'm going to weave in the ends, because like I said, there's no more tan over here. And then I'm going to take it out of I don't really need to. I'm going to take it out of here, though. I want to see what it looks like so far. I do typically, when I'm not working on a project, I will take the hoop off just so it doesn't crease the fabric very much. But I think, we're going to be working on it just this week. I'm hoping to finish this week. It's kind of a bigger one, so we'll see how far we get. There we go, 3 times. But if I was going to let this sit like for a month or something, I would for sure take the hoop off. But let's see how it's looking, you guys. Gosh, I mean, it's adding just that little texture. Oh, Lynn says, me too, Patricia. I'm so excited to get my kit tomorrow. Yay! Okay, good. Good. So everyone who ordered a kit, one of these bundles right now with this bag and all the floss and everything and then the needle, hoop, all that included, they have all been sent. So so you should expect them in the mail soon. You should have gotten a notification from me too that they have shipped. Cute. And we do still have a whole bunch of these available. So if you want to get it for a friend or if you didn't get yours yet, they are still available. Oh gosh, just like that. You could actually pick and choose a little bit around here, like this and the heart and, maybe the butterfly. I mean, just a couple things in this would be cute stitched. You wouldn't have to do the whole thing. But there we go. And just up closer. There we go. And I don't think I sewed through the back. I think we're okay. We may add a lining later, but you should be, for general use, you should be relatively okay. Hopefully it doesn't get caught on anything, but just in case, we will maybe do a little lining at the end of the week or Saturday or something if we don't get there. But I think we got a good start there. So tomorrow, I'm hoping we can get real far on the rest of him there. Maybe we won't get his embroidery going, but if we can get everything else done on him, I think that is very, very good. All right, I'm going to flip you guys around, and I'll show you it with a human there. There we go. I'll show you with a human there. What I mean by that is sometimes it's easier just to get a sense of it with me here. Then you can get a sense of the size. So this is what it'll be like as a cute little backpack. I think, yeah, even that alone is looking awfully cute. All right, I'm super duper stoked. This is one of my favorites. I'm excited to keep working on this with you guys this week. These videos will always be available, so if you are ordering late, you can still have these videos to go through them, especially if you have a question. And I'm always available for questions, and so is everyone else over in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group on Facebook. So if you have a question, even if it's a project that we've worked on a long time ago, feel free to ask over there. It's an awesome group, and everyone's so nice. Share your hedgies so far. There is a PDF available as well if you didn't want the bag, or if you live overseas and might not want to do the shipping. And then also a reminder, if you are just coming in, I wrote on this, but for everyone, so if you are on my newsletter tonight, I ripped this all up tonight, but if you check your newsletter, I did send out a PDF for free. So this is for your pattern. If you wanted to add the Craft a Happy Life banner to the bottom of your PDF, because I didn't actually include that on the PDF, but some people still wanted it, so I made this extra. But I gave it to everyone. So even if you aren't stitching this with us, but you want, to play around with banners, you'll still get this. So check your email. I sent it out literally right before I came on here, so you might have missed it, but check your email. You should have gotten a little free download of some banners just to play around with. We were thinking that they'd be good for baby blankets or for labels, and we did a little bit with that. We made a little banner here to trace for fun. So check this video at the beginning if you're curious about how we did that. So thanks again, guys. I will be here tomorrow, and again, keep sharing, and thanks for your subscribes and your likes. I appreciate it a ton. And I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.